Hawaii's Big Island just produced a magnitude 5.9 earthquake, and the volcano on the same island has been quietly preparing for its next eruption since May 15th. The quake hit at 9:46 in the evening local time on Friday, 12 kilometers south of Honaunau-Napoopoo. Depth 24 kilometers. On the western flank of Mauna Loa, not Kilauea, a second tremor of magnitude 3.2 followed 6 minutes later. The Pacific Tsunami Warning Center cleared the islands within minutes. Shaking was felt across Hawaii Island, Maui, Oahu, and Kauai. No major damage and no injuries were confirmed in early reports. Meanwhile, at the summit of Kilauea, 70 kilometers across the Big Island, Halemaʻumaʻu was paused. Both eruptive vents were glowing through the night. The Uēkahuna tiltmeter was reading 10.8 microradians of inflation, and the Hawaiian Volcano Observatory's forecast window for lava fountaining episode 48 ran from Sunday, May 24th, to Wednesday, May 27th. This is not a story of one disaster. This is a story of two geologic signals on the same island at the same time. But here is the detail that tells the real story. FO published the forecast window on Friday morning. The earthquake hit Friday night. The volcano was already recharging before the ground shook. The forecast was set by Kilauea's own clock, by the tilt at the summit, by the glow at the vents, by the inflation rate that has been climbing steadily since the 15th of May. It was not set by Mauna Loa. Across the islands, the shaking woke people up. In Kailua-Kona, 22 miles north of the epicenter, residents reported the strongest motion they had felt in years. In Lahaina, on Oahu's south shore, even in Hanalei on Kauai, people reached for their phones to check the Hawaii County Civil Defense Agency feed. They were checking the same instruments the agencies were checking. The tsunami notification cleared within minutes. The shaking faded. The volcano kept inflating. This is what the last week has looked like on the Big Island. On the afternoon of May 14th, at 3:27 local time, lava began fountaining from the northern vent of Halemaʻumaʻu. It lasted 9 hours. The summit released 15.6 microradians of deflation in those 9 hours. Episode 47 was over. The pause began. By the morning of May 17th, the Uēkahuna tiltmeter had recorded 6.8 microradians of inflation coming back. On May 19th, 9.5. On May 20th, 10.8. The volcano was refilling itself at roughly 2 microradians per day. Predictable, steady, in the same rhythm it has held since December 23rd of 2024. On Friday morning at 9:25 local time, VO published its daily update. 12 hours and 21 minutes later, the ground beneath the western flank of Mauna Loa fractured. The Pacific Tsunami Warning Center issued its notification within minutes. The exact wording, "No tsunami is expected, however, some areas may have experienced strong shaking." Here is why the earthquake did not cause Kilauea to recharge. Mauna Loa and Kilauea are not one volcano. They are two, sitting on the same island, fed by the same Hawaiian hotspot, but plumbed separately. Mauna Loa has its own magma chamber, its own conduit, its own eruption history. Its current volcano alert level is normal. Its Aviation Color Code is green. Mauna Loa last erupted in November of 2022 after a 40-year pause. Kilauea sits on alert level advisory, Aviation Color Yellow, because the eruption inside Halemaʻumaʻu has been ongoing in episodes since December of 2024. The two volcanoes are not on the same schedule. The earthquake was at 24 kilometers depth. That is deep-crustal, well below the active magma chamber of either volcano. Kilauea's magma reservoir beneath Halemaʻumaʻu sits at roughly 1 to 2 kilometers below the summit. The quake was an order of magnitude deeper than the rock that feeds the eruption. The two systems were not in contact. Think of Kilauea's summit as a pressure cooker with a known capacity. Magma fills the shallow reservoir at a measurable rate. The Uēkahuna tiltmeter reads how much the ground above that reservoir is being lifted by the pressure inside it. When the lift reaches the threshold, typically 8 to 10 microradians, the reservoir is full enough to push lava back to the surface. The clock is mechanical. It is correctly fired every episode since late 2025. Here is how the Hawaiian Volcano Observatory is watching Kilauea right now. The Uēkahuna tiltmeter at the summit is one instrument among many. Glow webcams at both Halemaʻumaʻu vents broadcasting continuously to the public US's site. Seismometers tracking tremor signals beneath the summit crater. Gas spectrometers measuring sulfur dioxide emissions, currently running between 1,000 and 5,000 tons per day during the pause. A network of GPS stations across the summit caldera tracking horizontal and vertical ground deformation in real time, each one feeding back into the daily HVO update. 47 lava fountaining episodes have happened in a repeating cycle of inflation, fountaining, deflation, and pause. Each episode generally lasts less than 12 hours. The pauses between episodes can stretch longer than 3 weeks. The current pause, only 9 days as of the Friday forecast, is shorter than typical. Volcanologists describe Kilauea right now as one of the most forecastable active eruptions on the planet. FOE is not watching alone. The observatory is in continuous contact with Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, which manages access to the summit area, and with the Hawaii County Civil Defense Agency, which coordinates emergency notifications. None of this changed on Friday night. The instruments kept reading, the webcams kept streaming, the forecast window stayed open. Here is what the historical record says about earthquakes and Kilauea. On the morning of November 29, 1975 at 4:48 local time, a magnitude 7.2 earthquake struck the south flank of Kilauea, the largest earthquake on the Big Island since 1868, roughly 80 times more energetic than the quake of last Friday. The south flank of the volcano dropped 1.5 meters into the sea. A tsunami generated by the displacement reached 14.6 meters of run-up at the Halape coastline. 2 people were killed at the Halape campground. And the Kilauea summit erupted. A brief eruption lasting a few hours, fed by the same fracturing of the volcano's plumbing that had just dropped the south flank. That is the documented case of an earthquake interacting with Kilauea. It happened directly beneath the volcano, not on the western flank of a different volcano. It happened at a magnitude that displaced rock kilometers across. It happened in a configuration where the quake itself opened conduits in the volcanic plumbing. Kilauea has reacted to earthquakes before, but the threshold for that reaction is documented. The Friday quake is below it. Hawaii is not facing a doomsday event. But the Big Island is geologically active today. Kilauea remains on alert level advisory. The forecast window for episode 48 runs through Wednesday. No significant activity has been recorded along the East Rift Zone or Southwest Rift Zone. What residents and viewers should watch in the next 96 hours is what AVO is watching. Lava spattering or overflows from either Halemaʻumaʻu vent, the signal that precedes fountaining. Any change in the Aviation Color Code. Any update to access at Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. The question now is not whether episode 48 is coming. HAVO already has a forecast window for it. The question is whether the inflation rate stays on schedule or whether some period of slowed inflation pushes the window later. The question is whether the people of the Big Island are watching the same instruments the agencies are watching. The M5.9 was the headline. But the inflation under Halemaʻumaʻu was already at 10.8 microradians before the ground shook. The earthquake is one geologic signal. The volcano is another. They share an island. They do not share a clock. If this story is worth telling, subscribe. We cover more of these every week.